Hey there, Har here, and today we're going to talk about the 10.1.5 Guardian Druid changes. There have been some significant changes in the Guardian Druid talent tree, as well as some redesigns of a few talents. So starting off, we have Innate Resolve. Rather than giving just one additional Frenzied Regen charge, it also increases the healing based on your missing health. In the more detailed notes, it says Innate Resolve now increases healing up to 150% based on your missing health. So that means Frenzied Regen can heal up to 48% of your overall health, which is a very significant change, especially when you're low on health. I don't know what the thresholds are, whether you have to be 25% to get the max value or 10%. I'm not entirely sure about that yet. We'll have to test that in the PTR. Raise no longer replaces Maul. This is another significant change. I do think this will make Raise a mandatory talent now, even on Tyrant weeks. You won't have to drop single target damage on bosses in order to play Raise now. So very nice change here, and Raise is a very, very big damage talent. So that is a very nice change. Front of the pack has been removed, which is a good thing. Front of the pack, oh, it's not here. This is the new tree, but front of the pack was a pretty dead talent. There was no reason to ever really take it. You just had better choices on the talent tree. Dream of Cenarius moved into row 2 from row 9. This is a very big change. Galactic Guardian moved into row 6 from row 9. Also a very big change. Flashing Claws moved to row 9 from row 8, and Scintillating Moonlight moved to row 9 from row 8. These are to fill in the gaps from moving Dream of Cenarius. So as you can see here, this is where they are. And then Soul of the Forest has been adjusted on row 6 because Galactic Guardian is being moved into row 6 and nothing is being replaced there. So as you can see here, Soul of the Forest is now in the dead center of the tree. Alright, so let's jump into the more detailed notes. There's a couple more changes. Lunar Beam. It now increases your health by 15%. I'm not entirely sure whether this is strong enough to take Lunar Beam yet. Lunar Beam issues included damage and healing. Because it is at the very bottom of our tree, every point at the bottom is extremely significant for a Guardian Druid. You have very strong points down there, so Lunar Beam, being a capstone, had to be very strong in order to be taken. I will have to take a look into this and test it on PTR. However, my gut feeling is I most likely will not be using this, primarily because it does not do enough damage nor healing for me to take it. The increase in 15% health is nice. It definitely will save me in maybe 1 or 2 situations, but I do not believe it is something that I will take on the regular to heavily help sustain Guardian Druid in the dangerous pulls. The other change is Rage of the Sleeper. It applies an aura, modifies damage and healing done by 15%. I think this main change was to help out with Lunar Beam healing, so we'll have to see whether that's going to be a thing. Once again, I don't know whether Lunar Beam will be a talent I'll be taking it. I can see it being perhaps very nice if you try to do a full mastery build where you just have a lot more health and then your Frenzied Regions are healing even more. However, once again, going mastery build means you are doing less damage. Verse helps with thorns and moonfire damage. Mastery does not. Alright, jumping straight into the 10.1.5 Guardian tree. We have Dream of Cenarius on the 3rd row, where Brambles, Bristling Fur, Mangle, and Improved SI are. I think Dream of Cenarius will be a must-take talent now, especially since most people were taking Brambles. Brambles is about 3% of your overall damage, not too impactful, and the absorb healing from it is irrelevant. Dream of Cenarius in combo with Protect of the Pack is very significant. It can be pretty much a lay on hands on your teammates when it crits, as well as a very nice heal on you whenever you take some kind of heavy tank buster. So it can save you in quite a few scenarios. Very, very nice to have. If I remember correctly, when you have a Dream of Cenarius proc, it stays for about 30 seconds, so you can use it or you can hold it and then use it anytime during that 30 seconds. Going down a little bit more on the tree, we have Galactic Guardian, Soul of the Forest. These 2 points are still must-takes. Soul of the Forest is a massive rage generator. Do you think this is mandatory? I don't believe you can skip out on this talent yet. Galactic Guardian, again, a must-have talent in combo with Twin Moonfire. Taking this out is probably about an 8k to 10k DPS loss. Now taking a look at the bottom of the tree, we have new placements of Flashing Claws and Scintillating Moonlight. I'm not sure how I feel about these positions, primarily because these still are 2-pointer nodes. However, you do have alternative paths now because Galactic Guardian got moved to the top. You no longer need to take 2 points of Scintillating Moonlight in order to get to Galactic Guardian, so you have 3 extra points to work with, essentially. Those 3 extra points, I do believe one of them has to go to Raze. Raze is just way too much damage to pass up. Thorns is still a very, very good point, even if you do not take Reinforced Fur and Layered Mane. So 2 points to get to Thorns, Balloons Favored into Thorns of Iron is probably still worth taking. Your last point, which is Rage of the Sleeper, I do think this is still a must-have in most of your dungeons because it is a 25% DR. In addition to that, it does increase your damage by 15%, so it is still a very nice talent to have. However, you can choose to take this out and place it in 1 point of Scintillating Moonlight for extra 5% DR across all mobs, or if there are some heavy tank busters and you feel like you need the extra DR instead of Rage of the Sleeper, you can take Pulverize. It is on a bit of a shorter cooldown, and it does higher damage reduction at 35%. This can be very useful on Tyrant bosses, so I would take a look into this. As for the left side of the tree, we do have Protector of the Pack, which I believe is a must-take now with Dream Cenarius. So I've kind of taken the points I normally have in Innervate and Nature's Vigil, and I've moved it to the left side of the tree. While Nature's Vigil was a lot of healing to the group, I believe the Lay on Hands from Dream Cenarius on one of your party members is probably more significant than Nature's Vigil. Primarily because Nature's Vigil, is on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Meanwhile, Dream Cenarius is every 20 seconds. Quite nice. Well, it's not every 20 seconds, but it can happen every 20 seconds. I do believe that will be more impactful, similar to Prot Paladin's WoG. I don't know exactly what I will be doing with the new tree yet, what I'll be running. However, taking a look at the middle portion of the tree, the points that I would still want to take are primarily Vicious Cycle, Reinforced Fur, Galactic Guardian, and Soul of the Forest. I can see a world where I perhaps take out Persistence and I place it into Vicious Cycle. The infinite frenzied regens from Berserk Persistence, as well as the reduced cost of Iron Fur, are very, very nice, but I'm not entirely sure it is necessary to survive. I will have to take a look into this. I think the infinite frenzied regens in Incarn is only necessary against heavy frequent magic tank buster packs, to where you can pop Incarn and just frenzied regen every single hit. Dungeons would probably include Neltharis, Halls of Infusion. Off the top of my head, there might be 1 or 2 more, but it's definitely a lot nicer this tier compared to last tier. We also haven't gone to the extremely high keys yet, and there's still tuning to be done in Mythic Plus keys. It's only Tyrannic right now. We haven't seen Forked Week yet, so there's probably going to be some tuning changes there as well. So yeah, this talent point, you can swap this in and out with Vicious Cycle depending on the dungeon. But once again, I do not think this will be necessary. Obviously, it does increase your Thorns of Iron damage as well, but Thorns of Iron has reduced damage beyond 4 stacks. Looking at the bottom of the tree, if you want to go a bit more of a defensive route, you can take out Thorns and you can go Ursoc's Fury, maybe keep that 1 point in Loon's Favored, or you can just take Rend and Tear. So this was the kind of build that a lot of people really wanted, where they played Ursox Fury, they still have the Galactic Guardian plus Moonfire, and they also have Raise. Damage of this build will be very similar to the Thorns build, but the added bonus is now you have Ursox Fury, Rend and Tear. However, you do lose Rage of the Sleeper and Scintillating Moonlight. So you lose about 4% DR across all mobs, and you do lose a 25% DR on a 1-minute cooldown. I can see Rage of the Sleeper being very useful in Fort Weeks. However, Ursox Fury is also very strong on Fort Weeks. I'm not sure which one I'll be running yet. However, I do like Ursox Fury. I tested it a bit towards the end of 10.0.7, and Ursox Fury definitely felt very nice. It would not have saved me in dungeons like Jade Temple. I definitely needed Rage of the Sleeper in dungeons like Jade Temple. So again, just the issue of frequent magic tank busters. However, for everything else, I do think Ursox Fury was it felt a bit better. A little bit comfier, safer on, your large pulls, things like that. So dungeons like Freehold, maybe Halls of Infusion. What else has some massive pulls? Brackenhide, obviously. So all those dungeons, it should feel a bit better to take Ursox Fury. I guess Halls of Infusion has some magic tank busters in that dragon hallway. So maybe not necessarily for that hallway, but for everything else, Ursox Fury should feel very, very good. For the most part, Guardian Druid talent change has been very good. Some of the things that still don't make sense are, say for example, the Moonfire talents. Kind of have them spread throughout this middle and right side of the tree. It would make a bit more sense if all of them were kind of actually on the right side of the tree. Say for example, Thorns of Iron, you can kind of like move this up one, move the Loon's Favor down one, or more to the right. Same thing with Fear of Nature, you can move them towards the right. Perhaps maybe even move these like to the right side, where Survival of the Fittest and After the Wildfire are, and place these two talents more towards the center. That would make a little bit more sense. But as of right now, they're just kind of scattered on the right side. The other thing was Flashing Claws, Scintillating Moonlight. Don't necessarily like these talents kind of being 2-pointer nodes in the dead center, locking us to getting the capstones. However, it obviously does make sense. You can't possibly have every single capstone. That isn't the case for any of the class trees out there. So that is understandable, but I do wish these weren't the middle points to get to Rage of the Sleeper, to get to Rend and Tear, Raise, etc. I would perhaps like to have, perhaps Ursox Fury more in the center. That way you have a bit more flexibility, because these are the more important nodes that you really do want to take. Flashing Claws and Scintillating Moonlight aren't that impactful for being 2-pointer nodes, so it really does feel bad to take these. I hope they do a bit more of a rework with these. However, for the most part, again, very nice changes to the Guardian talent tree. There might be more to come. Still, probably, if I had to guess, 2 more months until the 0.5 patch. So there can definitely be some more changes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.